afternoon, everyone. It is your teacher this afternoon, Ethan Grant. Today, we're going to give some help for PEP. And you all know what PEP stands for. Primary Exit Profile. It's where a test that you do in 4, 5, and 6, but now they only record grade 6. For all those people that is in grade 6, I wish you good luck on PEP exam next week, Thursday, including myself. So now we're going to talk about a big major subject that everyone keep failing at, unlike me, that we're getting good grades. Okay, ability. Ability deals with, many of us don't use this sense. This is our sixth sense or a common sense. And many of us don't know this. For instance, we have 1 plus 1. What does that equal to? It doesn't equal to 11, it equals to 2. And this is what many of us don't know. For instance, we get a question. Dennis is 14. And Mary is 7. How old will Mary be when Dennis is 56? And now that is just common sense, because after you know that Dennis is 14 and then you say that Mary is 7, and then you go into your timetable and then you say 7 times 1 is 7 and then 7 times 2 is 14. So obviously when you put 2 into 14, you get 7. And so that's what many of us don't know. We need to know multiplication when we're doing ability. We need to know multiplication, or should I just say, since we're in grade 6, bomb that. And can anyone tell what bomb that is? Okay, so no response. Brackets of multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. And ability is set up into four major categories dealing with math, science, social studies, and language. And many of us, our grammar is bad. So now we need to focus on these 4. But the most of all we need to focus on is our sixth sense, or common sense. So let's just figure out this problem. Okay, Dennis is 14 and Mary is 7. So obviously we know that 7 is a half of 14. So now we know that Mary is always a half of Dennis' age. And now, full stop. How old will Mary be when Dennis's age was 56? It didn't say how old will Dennis be when Mary is 56. It says when Mary. How old will Mary be when Dennis is 56? We must always read our sentences and not read them like phrases. Can anyone tell me what phrases is? Yes, what is phrases? Phrases is an incomplete statement. For instance, you have the dog. That is a phrase. It didn't tell the action that the dog did, because a sentence always includes, can anyone tell me? A subject and a predicate. A predicate doesn't mean that you predict the weather. It means like a verb. Like, oh, can anyone list the verbs? Okay. You have auxiliary verbs, you have main verbs, and auxiliary is also known as helping verbs. And then you have linking verbs like are before, like conjunctions. So this is all what we need to know. So let us focus on the main problem. And also, I want to say something before we go to this question. Whenever you have a problem and you can't figure it out, just go to the next one, because in PEP they only give you 1 hour and 30 minutes. And for language arts, they give you 2 hours because you're obviously going to write a letter or either an essay. But for math, I think you only need about 1 hour and 30 minutes. And for social studies, you're probably going to need 1 hour. And for language arts is 2 hours. Math is 1 hour and 30 minutes. Social studies 1 hour, and science is 1 hour and 30 minutes. Depends on the questions that you get. Okay, so let's focus like a question. So how old will Mary be when Dennis is 56? So now we're going to the same procedure what we did with these two ages. No? Okay, so let us go back to the problem. So we're going to do it the same as how we did this problem. So now we're going to figure out this problem. For instance, you might not notice it, although you started in grade 5. But let me just tell you this in algebra is where you have the unknown and you have to find the answer. So right now, this is the unknown and this is the clue that we get. For instance, we have 2x equals 4. You know that 2 times 2 is 4, so you're not going to just put it like 2 times 2 is 4. You're going to find out what is this. So what you're going to do is, this is actually really common sense. All you just have to do is that 2 and then you put 2 beside it, because you know once 2 is squared or added, it is the same. So 2 plus 2 is 4 and 2 times 2 is 4. So now the answer will be 2 equal 4. And many of you might think it's 22 equal to 4, but it's actually 2. Once a number is close to each other, it represents multiplication. For instance, you have 11. It's not multiplying. It's just a 2-digit number. So you have to know the difference between that and that. So that is what I wanted to focus on in this video. So let us work it out now. Okay, 2 into 5 goes 2 times, remainder 1, and 2 into 16 goes 8 times. So now we find our unknown, and our unknown is 28. So let us finish the sentence now. Dennis, okay, read it with me. Dennis is 14 and Mary is 7. How old will Mary be when Dennis is 56? The answer is 28. Hopefully you learned a lot today, including all of these. And I hope that your common sense will be in place. And stay in tune and join us back with Help for PEP.